how do we do we acknowledge the gap in time, or do we just make it seem like this is
Multiverse.
I just
July?
think you say we've been away for a while and now we're back.
We've been in a different vector space.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh, God.
Welcome back for another episode of Old Guys Playing Games.
That's us.
We're older.
I freaking swear. What in the heck? Let the guy finish the intro.
No, it's fine. I mean, they don't really want to hear it anyway. They get so many episodes from our show all in a row that it's really hard for them to catch up.
Oh, wow.
So,
This is starting off with a bang.
all right. So, Modern Warfare 3 has come out. No, not the one from before, the one from now. And it's new and improved, using the same engine, using the same files. Yeah, it's really just a DLC with a $70 price tag. But
70.
Well,
I paid 100.
for two of
I
us.
paid 100.
yeah. But so we got a chance. It's playable now. It's the campaign. We've played the campaign. Some of us has finished it. We played multiplayer.
Some
we
of us
played-
haven't started it.
Right. Some of us have played DMZ, which is really just zombies, which is actually kind of cool. But at least I think so. However, the Warzone won't be unleashed until December. That's when Season 1 starts. And we get a chance to dive into that with a new map and all of that. So first impressions, I'll hand it to Jason.
I like it. I like
Thank you, Jason.
the new maps.
Wow, that was...
I like the new maps that are old maps. They're redos of the old maps, which I love. I love Rust. These guys know I love Rust. I'm looking forward to Rust 24/7.
Do you mean what's old is new again?
Oh.
So that brings up a good question. So they've revamped old maps from previous games. Should that have been a launch map or something that they added later as a, hey guys, here's to all our fans, here's a old map that we've renovated for the new tech? I think personally that they should have had all new maps for the release. Something we haven't seen before, instead of giving us things that we've had that we could have gotten in past iterations.
So I would agree. So I'm going to say real quick. I think the acquisition, which I'm sure we'll talk about, Microsoft finally getting a hold of them, will make this silliness go away, because they milk every last thing they can get out of us, and this
Fine
is
day.
they is an Activision. I believe that and all the studios. I mean, I think I'm not sure their model's the most efficient but I know they talk, they want to release every year, but I think they got lazy on this release. I think Vanguard didn't go like they hoped it was going to go. They realized they had to, and then when they went with the new Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, they realized that people didn't like the non-slide cancel, all that kind of stuff. So they just said, okay, well, we got to get something out that looks like the old thing, but it's not the old thing on the current engine. And they just said, and then they said, well, to make up for all that, because we didn't get as many people as we hoped, and maybe we lost people, we're going to charge $60 for most people and $100 for the suckers. And then I think that's what we ended up with. I think they're taking advantage of their predominance, and I think I also think they probably have some costs. I think they're a very expensive company, and I think that's probably going to get fixed a little bit now that they're going to get wrapped into a bigger company. But I don't think it's worth $70. I love the game. It's not $70 worth.
No, I don't think the graphics were leaps and bounds from the previous iterations.
No, gameplay's better.
How do you think Microsoft's acquisition is going to make any improvements to it?
Well, I think if we look at the other studios they bought, one of the things they try not to mess up the studio system, but what they do is obviously there are a lot of the costs that those companies, is frankly, they're not good at. The core IT costs, the core operational costs, dealing with server costs. Microsoft will take all that off their hands. So hopefully they will be able to focus on two things. One is on the gameplay and the development, and they'll have access to newer tech sooner, which would be good. But also for our standpoint, we're going to get it in Game Pass, right? So I think the Game Pass is that we're not going to pay $70 next time. We're just going to pay Game Pass.
Is that an absolute?
I think so.
Like, I mean, that's everyone's assumption, but I just don't know.
I read somewhere that it would eventually, but I don't think it will come out. It won't come out that way. So as we've noticed now, it's released already. But I think subsequent iterations, I think the first version that comes out will be a paid, but it will eventually come to Game Pass probably sooner than they would have in the EA Play previously. Or not.
Will
EA
we get
Play,
it before PlayStation people?
No, I think
not
that
until
there's
a certain date. They won't get it before us anymore, though.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know
From
when
this
that
point
comes,
going
but-
forward.
Correct.
Whenever their contract runs out, yes. Let's
Josh,
see.
what do you think? You're holding your tongue.
No, I was the graphics. I think are lateral, if not worse. The campaign was abruptly short, and it ended abruptly, and it was very short. But it was fun. And the multiplayer is definitely a little bit different in style. It allows people to do different things, and
Better or
for
worse?
someone, well, it's not better or worse. It's just with my play style, it's a little bit challenging because there's a lot of sniping.
Yeah.
And I like to run and gun, so if there's high points, I'm gonna get destroyed unless I change. And
Love Quarry?
No, I don't. But I've started to go a little bit slower. It's helping a little bit. And who knows, maybe I'll have to get on a sniper rifle every now and then and see if I can
God help
get
us.
better at
So
that.
when you say the graphics are worse, you're referring to comparing it to the previous last year's version, correct?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I think it's like, I can't really put my finger on it. It's like, it's not sharp. It's like dull, kind of. Maybe it's the coloring and the lighting, but it's not as crisp. That's
I
the
haven't
way I
noticed
see it.
that.
I could see that. I think the detail has improved. I think if things that people don't normally notice when you walk up to an object, you start to see a little bit more depth in the product and the item that you're looking at. Grass looks more like individual blades instead of just big green blob, or you look at a wall and you can see the texture on the wall, which is something I've always found fascinating because it adds the realism to the game for me instead of just being a bitmap. It's more of something that is generated within the game itself. I think there could have been a bit more destructibility in the surroundings. I would love to see a little bit more of destruction in a wall when you're trying to shoot through it, if it's a drywall or something like that, or wooden or whatever. I'd like to see that.
That's a good point. And can we say on the Quarry map, they've introduced this sort of weird, what's that other game that kids like to build stuff? The other
Fortnite.
Yeah, they got like rebuild the wall stuff. Like, stop that.
No, not in Quarry. That's a game type. That's a game type.
Yeah, what was that game type called, Jason?
It's
do you
called.
remember?
I think it's called War or something.
But it was on. It was on the Quarry map, I think. If I remember.
Oh no, but that's. I feel like that's a little bit different. I like that mode. That was from World War II or World at War, one of them, where you have to build the blockade and stop.
Well, I'm okay with that. That one I'm okay with. It was the wall. It was the wall thing I didn't understand. So the blockade I get. You got to stop the tank from.
But I think in that one you could build walls and block people from coming through, which I don't mind that.
All right.
I think I know what you're talking about, Stuart. I'm trying to remember what game mode that was, because it was like a domination. We had to get to the flag, and there was a wall that we could use dynamite to blow up the wall, and then we could also build it up after it was blown up to try to get to the different zones. No, I get that. And then the other mode was you're trying to prevent something from happening, or you're trying to prevent this tank or this missile launcher from coming down the street, and you block. Those are interesting takes on this genre, right? I like that they're changing and giving us more options instead of just, here's a map, here's the zones for domination, go, or deathmatch or something like that. Give me something different to do, and I think that they've added those, which are pretty good. I know you guys haven't had a chance to play Zombies yet, but it's an open world zombies game. You have?
I played
we all
with you.
played. We played together.
I have not.
Yeah, the three of us played.
Okay.
Me,
that's
Stuart
right.
Play.
That's right. And I like that. I like that because they've also included in that missions per area. So when you go into a certain area, there's something going on, and you have to participate in that. And I like that it adds variability to the game and replay value to the game as well. It's not just zombie waves after wave after wave of zombies. It's actually there's something else you can do within there. And then the addition of the contracts, and all that was really well done. I played it by myself for a while, and I found it very entertaining. I'd like to try to do it as a team of 4 if possible.
Sure.
Can you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah,
it's
DMZ.
Good point. It's DMZ. DMZ was always 3 people, wasn't it?
You can
Zombies
because we
has
had
always
a
been 4.
We had a fill when we played.
Yeah.
Remember?
Okay. All
Zombies has always been 4. It's
I'm going to miss zombies going down the ski slope, though. That was always fun.
Yes.
That was cool.
I was thinking about that the other day. I wish that they had that back. That was so much fun. But this reminds me of that. That was 2 or 3 iterations back when they had that. But it was it was a lot of fun. But this is similar to that. Also, there's AI humans that you have to kill, characters, because they'll be in the map doing something, and you have to go in there and take care of that. There's also live humans in there, but they are friendlies. I don't believe that you can shoot each other. Because I was getting killed by a zombie, and this guy came in and saved my life. And if he was shooting the zombie, he would have been shooting me too. So I wasn't getting hurt by
Josh
him.
does that. He shoots through me to shoot other guys.
Yeah,
we won though.
You make a great meat shield, Stuart. You really do.
We do. I'm a big meat shield. What I had found interesting on the reviews, and zombies, okay. I don't always love zombies, but it's fun to play something different. I think a lot of the reviews have been pretty negative so far around 3, and I wonder how much of it relates to the fact that you have to pay the money for it, as opposed to if it has been a DLC. I know there's been a lot of guys talking about gameplay and the graphics, like we were talking about, and other stuff. So far, I think it's been fine. I mean, I haven't disliked it, but again, we're an optimistic group. We just like playing something new, right?
Yeah, I wish. I think part of it is it's not as we talked a little bit before, it's not the leap in technology that we had hoped for. We'd hoped for a little bit more realism. We'd hoped for a little bit more getting yourself enveloped by the environment. But I don't see much, with the exception of the fine detail that you miss when you're running around.
Mm.
I don't see a big enhancement in visual style or even animations for the characters. They all still seem like they are very similar to the previous version.
Seems the same.
Yeah, so that I can understand why people complain, because it doesn't seem too different. The only thing that's different that is a welcome change are some of the maps. Some of the game modes, like Cutthroat, which is a new game mode, at least in this iteration. I don't know if it's a throwback from a previous version or not, but that's a lot of fun. Again, bad news, it's only 3 players. But that's a 3v3v3, which I found incredibly entertaining, because at that point you can let the other 2 teams fight it out, and then your team, if you're smart, like we are, we're old. We wait until they fight it out. Then we kind of
except when we sit on the wrong flag.
Yeah, that's right. And then we swoop in and we take over and kill out the rest of them. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I think Ground War is the one you were talking about that had the different zones and they had to build walls.
No, it's just called War.
It's just called War. Oh, okay.
Yep. It's like the one we used to have to do with the escort the truck. I think we used to have it in.
Yeah,
same thing. And that's fine. I mean, but again, it is getting very much like they're just taking. I mean, every year they just take the maps they built before and they just make them a little spiffier, add little things to it. I mean, some of the new maps are really nice and I like them. I think the quarry, as much as I know, Josh, you don't love the sniper part of the quarry map. The design of it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. No, it's a cool map.
I think there's some cool maps out there, but
For me, it's frustrating.
I think it's going to be when we see Warzone. I think that's going to be really interesting to see what the new Warzone looks like and how big it is and how spacious it is. I think that's going to be, obviously, that's what everybody's waiting for. And I don't think we see that until sometime in December. Right?
Yeah, it's December, early December. So they have 4 different developers working on this. They had Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, and Raven. Now, Raven has always been a part of it, but usually was flip-flop between Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Which was a welcome change because one of them usually would be the best at doing the zombies, and the other one wasn't, or the other one wouldn't even bother including it.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer, however, they were the ones who did Vanguard, which we were all pretty disappointed in. So I'm a little surprised that they're a part of it.
I liked the World War II theme of Vanguard, and there were things about Vanguard I liked, and so I don't want to. But I get the gameplay was not nearly as fun. But I thought the island was cool. I thought.
No, yeah, don't get me wrong. Let me preface. Let me clarify. We didn't care for the playability of Sledgehammer. The gameplay wasn't great. The maps, the theme of it, I liked a lot. Sometimes it was frustrating, especially when we just came off of a modern game going to these World War II weapons. I know you're a huge history buff, so that was a welcome change for you. And we enjoyed it initially. But then after a while, it's like, all right, I'm getting tired of this. I want to get something more modern. I'm so used to it, But,
Agreed.
What about it has its place?
Which is a good segue into what I was thinking was positive about the game. It's growing on me. I like some of the new weapons. They're different. Like we talked about the Breacher drone, and I know you guys like the Mosquito drone. Is that what it's called?
Drone.
And at first, I didn't like the new perk, whatever we want to call it, system where you had, like, I actually am liking the way they did it. You can customize it more than I thought you would be able to initially. So I like it. I like the covert sneakers. I like you put one vest on and you don't necessarily have to have a field upgrade. So I like some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you can build out your perks or what have you different, a little bit more granular in this version because you have a vest, you have gloves, you have boots,
and then like a headset,
something else as well. And different combinations of those will give you different abilities, different enhancements as you go through, and that does add a bit of a learning curve for one. Because I asked you today, I said, so how do I get overkill? How do I carry 2 guns? And you told me there was 2 different ways of doing it. And I thought it was only the one vest that you have to get at level 50 or more. And no, apparently you can get it with the gunner, which I didn't know. So that's it's not intuitive. I will tell you that. It is very confusing. As well are the daily challenges, which we've also talked about.
Well,
yeah, the weird thing is like the daily challenges
you can't
that it tells you to do something, but you can if you go to everything. So what we realized is the default loadouts that they give you have the things so you can get your daily challenges, but it's weird that you have to do that. It's just weird.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you told us today that, if you didn't unlock the Breacher drone, it's actually in one of the default loadouts that you can choose.
Yep.
But so then you have to use the default loadout, right? So,
weapons.
Yes, correct. So it's a give and take. So what they've done is they have the three daily challenges, and then they have what they call an armory challenge that you have to unlock to be able to get certain things like the Breacher drone or the flash grenades and stuff like that. And that became very frustrating because one of the 3 dailies would inevitably have, get so many kills or blind 3 enemies or whatever with a flash grenade. Well, I don't have the flash grenade, so I got really, really angry about that whole setup and how they did that.
I'm going to get nerdy for a second. That to me seems like a deprioritization of a feature. Like they just were tight for time. What can we push down to the bottom? And I feel like that was it.
Yeah. They didn't. It was a bug that they didn't realize was in there, and they're like, it doesn't matter. People don't care.
But they'll figure out and they'll rank up eventually, and it won't matter. So.
Right.
Yeah. I will say this though. I think it's been pretty stable.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Didn't even think about that, right? How many times have we tried to play and somebody has inevitably crashed, or we've all crashed,
recently.
or we've only had a couple.
It's not bad. It's not bad. And by the way, you get right then back in. It doesn't seem to take as long. So I will give them credit in that. Obviously, the beta was a little buggy, which one would expect. But so far, it seems to be pretty good. And and let's talk about our favorite subject, cheaters. I mean, I think they're still there, right? It's bad. It isn't horrific yet. I haven't seen. I did see that this week they did something with the whole cheating, the fall thing on cheating that was supposed to be.
Jason read an article about that.
It was supposed to be enhanced this week with the splat.
Yeah, called the splat. I think when you jumped. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I saw an article that had a video attached to it that showed that a normal character could jump off of something that would be 10 feet, 12 feet tall, and it wouldn't hurt the character. But in the splat system, if you are considered a cheater, that is one of the things you can't do. So you'll jump off and you'll die instantly. Yeah. I think that's really funny because it not only does it make it extremely frustrating for the cheater, which is great, but it also makes it very funny for the people that aren't cheating to see these cheaters getting, falling off of something that is reasonably easy to fall off of, and then they'll die. Yeah. So, but they've got to do something. I think it's still not there yet, and there'll always be a chasing type thing where they're always finding ways to subvert it, and they're always trying to find ways to plug it.
Well, and they did announce the one thing on Microsoft. Now, this is going to help the cheaters, but Microsoft did announce that approved hardware. In other words, if it hasn't been certified by Microsoft, if it detects non-certified hardware, so sort of like a digital handshake, that it's not going to allow you to play with those things anymore, which has got the modding community up in arms because they can't use their little cheaty controllers.
Chronos. So about that though, how does I have mixed feelings about that, because it seems like they're making it almost like a proprietary.
You don't have to buy theirs. Now. You don't have to buy theirs. You can still buy. It's just a matter of whatever they just want. And I don't disagree with you, because I think my brain goes that too. But they just like, if someone's going to use a controller on their system, it has to go through a certification process to assume that it will not damage the system. That's the theory. Now, the nice thing about that is, it's going to be it's like an underwriter's laboratory. It's going to be optimized and be okay, and then they could test for it when they do beta testing. They do regression testing and other stuff. So, look, if it keeps cheaters with those $400 controllers you can get that have all the cheaty macros on them, it's not going to stop the PC guys. Right? That's the problem, right?
That's interesting, because that obviously is going to be a money grab, right, for Microsoft, because they're going to have to pay for the certification.
I don't know if they charge for that or not. I don't know if they charge for it or not. My guess is they don't, because they want more people building stuff. They wouldn't want to limit people building stuff on the platform.
Right.
But anyway, what do you think, Jason?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
I don't know that I don't know that I care too much about the controller verifications or certifications. I am, however, interested in I was just researching the new map on Warzone. And at first I was looking at the description and I saw the little video clip and I was like, oh, come on, this is just another redo of the previous maps. The one part that is interesting is there's this one section of town, these huge high-rise buildings, and there's zip lines between all of them, which is fun. That was always my favorite part of the map in, what was that? Was it Verdansk that had the high rises, the huge, or was it?
That was Verdansk.
That was my favorite part of that map, was the downtown core with the big high rises. So this looks cool in the fact that there are these huge construction towers that have zip lines and buildings that have zip lines between each other. And if you've played the campaign, there's a really cool mission in that campaign where there's zip lines that can take you, if you have an ascender, can take you to different sections of the floor. So that I look forward to. The other parts, there's a power plant, there's the missile silos, there's a port, there's a shopping center. It's like, have they maxed all these different environments?
That sounds like there's not a lot of rural, right? There's not a lot of
like farmland and stuff.
Because almost all the maps we've had, even Verdansk, we had areas that was more rural and there wasn't like jam packed
There's-
full of buildings.
No, there are like farmlands and
Yeah.
rural areas in here. The suburbs, Zaravan suburbs.
I think it's going to have all that stuff. I think it's going to have all the different, it'll have water, it'll have subways, it'll have buildings. I think it's going to be, it'll have residential high rises, all that kind of stuff, which I think is great. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're used to, right? I'm just curious, like, are we going to get any more vehicles? Is there going to be any new things? Zip lines are great, but we've had zip lines, right?
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, what would ever get us totally excited? We're going to see this Warzone map and be like, oh, where's the neat places to go? And then you're a couple days into it, you're like, okay,
I think
get it.
I think something that they should add that I think would be very interesting is if you had a map large enough that it was able to have a mountainous area that had snow, then you can incorporate snow-based vehicles, even skis or snowboards.
How about live animals?
Live animals. We haven't had that besides the occasional chicken, right?
Well, we had Krampus, which scared Jason.
Krampus.
I hated that.
It's that time of year.
But I think having a mountainous area that had snow, because we've had mountains before, we've had multiplayer maps that had snow, but we've never had that built into a Warzone map that was large enough to have a majority of dry area. It was all, there wasn't much snow. The only thing we had came close was in Verdansk. There was this one small section that looked like it was in the shade of the mountain all the time, so it still had some snow on the ground. But that's really all it was.
Yeah,
there was no vehicles to incorporate there. There was no really ways to take advantage of it when you were driving on the river or the creek, whatever it was. It was slick. That was the only really thing that they did with it.
I think
that's a missed opportunity.
I'm hoping they're going to bring some cool new stuff, and I'm excited about all the rooms Jason's never been in.
I've never been in here. It made me think, like, what if they did a map that was only like a Tokyo, like it was only the downtown core. There were endless buildings.
I would love that.
Rooms, basements, subways. That'd be amazing.
I would love that.
But then would we get tired of that? Because you would spend all your time trying to go up into every building and see where you can find people.
Well, then give us give us it for a month or something like they do with the others. It'd be sort of cool to have like an event for these different worlds. But
yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how excited I was, and I remember fondly when they finally opened up the doors to the subway.
Oh yeah,
in Verdansk. It's like, oh my god, this is a new way to travel. This is a new thing. It's oh my god, this is so cool.
Speaking of which, there hasn't been any Easter eggs for a long time. I mean, you think about Verdansk with all the codes and the bunkers and
the cards,
that
the bunkers.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right. I forgot about that.
That was. Which one was that?
Verdansk.
Yeah, because then they introduced all the raid stuff, and the raid is 3 people, couldn't really do it. It wasn't the same.
Right. I love those.
I love that. I remember us staring. Remember we were in the room and we were looking for this stupid clue, and it turned out it was no clue. Like we're in there for like hours trying to figure out how to, that little church. We're in that little church. We're all scouring that little church for like an hour.
We were looking at the ceiling. We were looking everywhere for it.
Jason's like, I think it's through the crack of the bookshelf and whatever. I think it's.
Oh yeah, we were looking through that little crack. Oh my god!
It's just some developer being lazy, and we're like, "This is it. This is it right here."
Developers.
Now they own it. So there you go. Oh man, but
they didn't do that. I don't think they've done anything like that since.
They haven't.
Verdansk.
So developers, Infinity Ward, whoever you are, do more of those Easter egg things or the code breaking, because Kenny loves it.
Oh my god, I was obsessed.
Then, and you want to sponsor them, make it, if you break the code, you get like a Taco Bell or something. I don't care, but just
yeah, man. I'll take some Taco Bell.
Ken woke up.
Look at me. Do I look like I passed Taco Bell? I don't pass Taco Bell.
You'll pass it.
Oh, bye.
Rental food.
But anyway, so I think it's fun. I think I'm having a good time. I mean, I've been away for the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been playing as much, but it's fun to play, and I think it's been. I like the guns. I got to rank other stuff up, but it's been fun. All right, what else? What else is new?
Well,
I regret to inform everyone listening that Rosalind Carter died.
I saw that
just a few minutes ago. She went into hospice the other day, and she finally passed.
Oh, that sucks.
For those of you that are not OGPG, she was the first lady under. Jimmy Carter.
She was what now?
First lady under Jimmy Carter.
Move on. So pedestrian.
Oh, then yeah, I went the respect for the rest of
Not
the
even.
program. All right. What else? Anything else coming out we need to play soon? Anything else interesting coming out?
Well, there's a couple of games that I wanted to kind of mention to you guys. There's a game called The Finals, which is in beta. It's a first-person shooter. It is a competitive type theme, and it's highly destructible. I was actually quite impressed with how they did the physics and the destructibility of the surroundings. It's a bit frenetic, but I think you can overcome that. But it was really interesting. For me, is the nerd
Where can we play
part of it. You can play it now. It's been out for a while.
On Game Pass?
Yeah. It's either Game Pass or it's just a free beta that's out there. Anybody can play it, I believe.
It looks
you don't
pretty
have to
neat.
sign up for it. Yeah, the Finals. It's pretty interesting. It's a more futuristic, but not like so far removed from what we currently have, but enough that provides you with enough variability.
You're in a big stadium, like massive stadium, and you're playing as a team in the stadium. That's really cool. I mean, when we say a big stadium, it's like the biggest stadium you've ever seen. Just watching the trailer.
Yeah, so I'd like to see it. I think it'd be like almost like a Cutthroat a type theme where you have a competition between multiple teams and you have to maybe get the objective before the other teams.
Huh.
And some of it can be kind of confusing. You know, what am I supposed to do with this? They didn't do a very good job of talking you through it. Maybe it's because it's a beta. I don't know. But I thought it was really cool. Just the destructibility. I went around just blowing things up, thinking it was really neat.
Looks like Jason like it. They've got zip lines. So.
Zip lines.
Yes, they do have zip lines. Another game, when we're talking about the destructibility, is a game called Teardown, or I think it's Teardown, that's coming out. That when you first glance at, you're like, "Oh, that's going to be boring." It has the environment almost looks like a 16-bit version of Minecraft. You know, things are a bit pixelated, but when you destroy, and everything can be destroyed, the physics of it, the explosions and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks really neat. Amazing. Some of the videos that they showed, and some guy was talking about it, was really, really well done. They said that what really brings people in and what makes it most fun is the storyline. You know, you're basically an owner of a destruction company. You know, a company that just tears things apart, and your company's fallen in dire straits. And so you start taking these odd jobs, and they're not necessarily on the up and up. So you end up having to work with the criminal empire and stuff like that. It looked pretty cool. I was pretty interested in checking that out when
construction guys in the criminal empire. That doesn't sound realistic.
It's a bit. It's a bit. Yeah.
Anyway, cool. We'll have to try that out and see how it goes. We obviously have the Thanksgiving break coming up, so we'll have some time to try some new stuff.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I've got the entire week off, so I'll be playing and cleaning my garage. So.
I'll be ramping down probably Tuesday.
Has anybody seen any movies recently that was worth watching?
Not worth watching.
Or not worth watching, for that matter?
Last movie I saw
Killer
in the theater,
was okay.
I saw with you.
What was that movie?
It was Flash. No. Shazam. No.
Shazam?
Black Adam.
Black Adam, yeah. That was a while ago.
Yes.
Jason, you saw The Killer. You liked it?
I did.
I'm like 80% through.
Okay, I just want to get that out of the way to make sure we don't spill anything for you.
But Ken, did you watch it all in one sitting, or did you do what Josh and I are doing?
It took me 2 sittings.
So this is maybe a new trend. Is like when I sit down to watch a movie, I know for a fact I'm not going to sit and watch the whole thing. I almost say like, I'm going to start it and then I'll watch it in a few sittings. And that's what I've done. So I wonder if that, outside of like the big, massive, epic movies that everyone can't wait to see, I wonder if that will be the new streaming approach. You just say like, I'm going to watch it almost like a series.
Well, I didn't see how long gotten used to that, right? People have gotten used to this whole binge mentality and watching things as a series. and instead of sitting down and watching a 2-hour movie. Now I have in recent days sat down and watched an hour and a half movie, all the way through. But I think you might be right that this whole thing about bringing in episodic shows and making the story last more than just the 2-hour limit and making it a series, that's become a huge trend. And I think people are starting to watch movies that way too. They're starting to stop.
I'll make a suggestion to Martin Scorsese on Killers of the Flower Moon. That was 4 hours end to end in the theater.
Well, plus if you got there for trailers,
I got there on time.
Like you're sitting for
the
long.
The movie's 3 hours and 26 minutes, and that's too long. Not a fast movie.
No, I mean the question is, and what you ask yourself is, did that movie need to be that long? That's what drives me crazy. Like I get if you're like Lawrence of Arabia or something, right, where the story is, but that's what I mean. I get it. He can do what he wants. He's Martin Scorsese, right?
They had to set the right vector space, or it wouldn't have had the same impact.
They do use vectors in the movie industry. I did rewatch. Well, we're almost done watching. Similar to we did. This movie actually has a intermission built in, but we watched Kingdom of Heaven, the Ridley Scott movie, that the director's cut, and it's got an intermission built in. And
I've never seen it.
It's so much better than don't ever watch the original. Only watch the director's cut.
Where can I watch it?
I bought it, but I don't know. It should be out there somewhere. But the cool thing about it is it's it's Ridley Scott, right? Name a bad Ridley Scott movie? The only one I think this one was bad because he had to cut it down. He was never happy with it. And I think same thing with, obviously Blade Runner was great, but his director's cut of Blade Runner was better. So I think, if you look at, just go down through his movies, Blade Runner, Aliens, Gladiator, no, there's a crap ton of them. What else is out there? He's just amazing.
Prometheus, which is part of the Alien thing. Napoleon's coming out now. Have you heard anything about Napoleon?
It looks awesome.
I can't wait for that.
It looks good. It looks good. I know some of the story. Even the historians that I follow, and you guys know I read lots of
stories.
No. Would you just wait? It's not historically accurate. That's okay. It's okay as long as you go in knowing like that he's made some stuff up. And his point, I was watching an interview. He's like realistically the only there's been thousands of books written by Napoleon, and all of them are iterative off the original. So he's taken some license with things like the Battle of the Snow and those kings. But I think it looks great. And Joaquin Phoenix is he's an amazing actor. So
did you hear Ridley Scott's response when he was presented with a historian's review of the film? Get a life is what he said.
Yeah.
The historian said it dove into the minutia of some of the scenes, and Ridley's like, get a life. This is a story. We're telling a story. I'm not making a documentary. And he makes a great point. You're not making a documentary. This is a real person.
Yeah,
and I'm not making a documentary.
As long as you don't change massive characters, like you don't, swap people out or do stuff. I think it's fine. I think he's making some licensing. Same thing we did with Maximus, right? He took sort of a Gladiator. He took, Commodus and sort of, Commodus was Marcus Aurelius' son, but he took a little bit of license with all that. But Commodus did fight in the arena, so okay, fine. That's loosely. So I don't know. I agreed. I don't view him as a documentary maker.
No. But you're right. His films are.
It looks visually amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And by the way, the cool thing about Ridley Scott is he draw all the storyboards he draws. He's basically a comic book artist. If you've ever seen his storyboards, they are amazing. And so, I think that shows in that way he does his work. So I can't think of a movie I have not liked of his, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Gladiator. Number two, again, I know it'd be Blade Runner. They're close, but love Blade Runner.
I can't see where to stream. I don't think you can stream the director's cut that I can find. Is it on DVD?
No, I have it on Vudu. So.
Yeah, shout out to Vudu.
Love Vudu. Love Vudu. OGPG sponsored by Vudu. When you do Vudu, but they might sponsor us. You don't know. I love Vudu because when I'll just say this, a little plug for Vudu. I took all my old DVDs and I looked them up and I basically bought, for the $3, whatever, or $4, I could buy them all on digital. I went through and did all my old DVDs.
Oh, shit. No. I was gonna show you. I started watching
your Instagram.
No. I started watching that. What the heck is it called? Oh, Monarch, Legacy of the Monsters.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Really, really well done. There's 2 episodes out now. The third one drops Wednesday night
Cool.
on Apple TV Plus. Really well done. Convincingly real. Like, that's what I'm just so taken with in this show, is that I expected it. I went into it with it's going to be a Godzilla, and there's going to be like these big, massive centipedes come out, and like you are on the edge of your seat with these scenes, so realistic, and sort of the backstory to how they prepared for them. The citizens in Tokyo just sort of knew that there was a possibility that Godzilla, because it had struck San Francisco, so it's just really, really well done. And I'm hoping that it takes off with popularity, and then they do multiple seasons, because I don't really like it.
I have one more thing. We saw the early preview for the Masters of the Air.
Yes.
The Mighty Eighth Air Force.
Elvis.
So get your Apple TV Plus now, so that you can do Monarch, and then
I'm going to have to buy it for that.
So I'm excited for Monarch. I haven't started watching it yet. I've always been a big fan of the MonsterVerse, the King Kong, the Godzilla. And I find it interesting that you say the realism of it, because we've gotten leaps and bounds with CGI. But CGI is one thing. If you don't have a story to go along with it, to where you're emotionally invested, then the realism goes out the window. And I'm glad to hear that it sounds like the story is also satisfied in that way.
Yeah, starts off deep with story, almost to the point where you're like, wait, what am I watching again? So give it some time.
I need B-movie Japanese reactions, or I'm not gonna like it.
Well, there's some.
You won't get that.
Yeah, but there's because there's two timelines. Not 2 timelines, but they're telling the story. They got past history footage and then modern day stuff. So
I need guys
the
white
history
helmets.
stuff is mostly Tokyo in that time frame. And what's cool
Josh.
about that is that oh my God, I just lost the names. The actors, the father and son.
Kurt Russell
and Wyatt Russell. They play the same character. So Wyatt plays him as young man, and Kurt plays him as the modern day. And I found that to be so well done, because they're very, very similar. Anyway, but I'm excited to see it. I really am. I really love that story, and it's funny because when Godzilla originally came out, he was a terror, and everybody was really afraid of him. Subsequent films have made him more of a anti-hero, and he saves people. He fights the other monsters and saves them. And I think there's a little bit of both in this one, that they're trying to make Godzilla a villain in the past, but maybe he becomes a good guy in the future. I'm not certain, but I gotta watch it to be sure.
Cool. Masters of the Air is when? Next spring?
January 25th or something like that.
So what's the history of that? What's the story?
It's the Mighty Eighth Air Force. So it's the bombers. It's the bomber crews from England, right? And the whole 25th. If you ever saw Memphis Belle, right? You get 25 missions. It's going to be the sort of the Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers version of that, which is those guys, as much as it seemed like it might have been safer, it was nowhere near safer, right? The chances of dying were probably 10 times worse.
We're still talking World War II.
It's World War II. It's the bomber crews that were stationed in London. And I'm assuming the British and the Americans. I think,
the 100th bomb group.
Okay.
Wow.
So
I like those kind of films.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Should be really good. I mean, Memphis Belle was good. There's a great video. There's a great movie. Like there's a great documentary. I think They Came Back or whatever. It's like the 5 big Hollywood filmmakers who went to World War II to make movies during the war. And it was like, Francis Ford. It's like all the top ones. But one of them, I can't remember who it was. I think we'll look it up. Went on a bombing raid mission. And it was terrifying, but cool. I mean, it almost seems unrealistic, but the odds of those things were just nuts. You couldn't turn. You just sort of had to go straight.
That sucks.
I mean, they were once in formation. You couldn't leave formation because there were thousands of them, right? You'd run into the other
Right.
one, right? So
Right.
I mean, we're going to see a lot of that sort of fear and everything else. And to be a ball gunner, you have to be an idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
Well, you
one
have
of
to
my
have
favorite poems.
Yeah.
You know that you know that
So
poem?
everything just came to a
Go
screeching
ahead,
halt.
Jason.
Hold
which
on.
one? Which poem? Which poem?
Come on.
You don't know that? Come on,
No,
you know
come
that poem.
It's
Hold on.
pronounced
Looked it up.
poem.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh my gosh,
though.
it's one of the.
Is it a
Are
limerick?
Are you being for real?
No, I want to hear it.
What are we talking about
Okay, hold on.
now? Please hold. Everybody's anticipating.
God,
go
it's
get
one
your
of the best.
Go get some popcorn. It's coming.
All right. While he looks that up,
You know, Josh. Can I just say, Josh with his headset on looks a little bit like the guy in Cloud City that is Amando's.
I mean, I don't think it
It's
was
a good
that
look,
funny,
Josh.
but
oh my God, it
Can't
wasn't
seem to
until
enjoy
he said it that it was really funny. I'd recite the line if I could remember it. It was
He
such a
doesn't talk.
small
He doesn't
role.
no, he doesn't
You don't
talk
think
at all.
so?
Doesn't say
I
one
don't
word.
think- no, he doesn't. He gets the thing
Okay.
that big.
I've got it. I got
All
it.
right,
It's
all right,
it's
here we
a
go,
it's
everybody.
a it's a 5-line poem.
Oh,
There
thank
once
God, a
was a
haiku.
man.
No, it's called the death of. No, it's very touching.
Oh.
The death of the ball turret gunner.
Oh wow.
From my mother's sleep, I fell into the state, and I hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from Earth, loosed from its dream of life, I woke to black flak and the nightmare fighters. When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose.
Yikes!
Wow.
Happy Veterans
Wow.
Day, everybody. That's an amazing thing.
But-
I mean,
Wait,
The-
we have
the-
to give credit. You have to credit that. You have to say who wrote it, and we got to cite our sources here.
It
Yes.
is by Randall Jarrell. And when I shared the link, but the meaning of that, like we spent hours in honors English class breaking that one down. But
Hmm.
there's the parallels. It's like birth, death.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really an amazing one.
mean,
I can't
I
believe
hope
you
they
guys
don't
didn't
have
read
to. When I die, I hope they don't have to wash me out with a hose.
Hmm.
Well, that's an amazing thing, Jason. 'Cause those guys that got those ball turrets, they were crazy. I mean, not that they had a choice. They would. You don't want to be the small guy. Ken, we were good. We weren't going to go in the ball turret.
No, I wasn't going to fit in that
What
thing.
about tall guys?
Not
Jason?
comfortably.
I'm tall.
No,
Same.
you'd have been up top the rest of those. I don't know if you've ever been in one of those. When the Memphis Belle was here, we went through it and toured it, and like I got in it, but I couldn't get to the cockpit.
Huh.
Like you can't. It's not made for dudes like above 6 foot and wider than your normal human.
Wow.
Let's just put it that way.
Huh.
Those things are tiny, and I can't even imagine. And they're non-insulated, and like you imagine just sitting on a piece of glass, looking down below you at the, it's no.
I can't
Actually,
even
there's
walk across those bridges.
Oh,
Know,
there's
on the
a
side of a
game.
mountain.
Yeah, there's a I know we're just rambling. There's a game. There's a bombing simulator game. I got to find it that actually gives you that feeling of the game. I'll find it and send it to you guys. But all right, well, so we're back.
We are with a happy
Now
poem
what?
at the end.
Not bad.
Yeah,
We're
no,
gonna
that's
do it
good.
again. We're gonna do it again, Ken, because we have one listener. That
Well, that's
one
right.
listener per
We got to
anchor.
satisfy.
We have one listener, one audience.
Hey, Jer.
And with that,
All right, we'll close it out. We're old guys playing games. I'm Ken.
I'm Stu.
I'm Jason.
I'm Josh.
Thanks for listening. Bye.